Good afternoon, everybody. And we will have an interesting session on the channel strategy now. As you know, the D2C e-commerce, the D2C ecosystem has developed quite well. At every stage, we have got, enough and more number of entities providing service to the D2C ecosystem. Right from product design to creating your website to MarTech, to logistics, to shipment, OMS, WMS. Entire ecosystem has got lots and lots of partners offering this service, which has evolved over the last 5 to 6 years. So therefore, all the D2C founders now have a choice in terms of the channel mix that they want to have, which channel do they want to start with, which channels do they want to strengthen, whether it is marketplace, whether it is brand.com, whether it is retail, whether it is quick commerce. The choices are many. What we are going to do today is to have a deep dive into the channel strategy. And with me are some of the most wonderful D2C founders. Some of them are leaders in the D2C space. So what we will do is maybe everyone can start with your introduction for a minute and a half about you and the business, and then we'll go on to the next set of questions. Stuti, with you.
Hello. Yeah. Hi. I'm sorry. I came in late. But I'm Stuti, and I'm the co-founder of Amrutam. We are solving for largely women's menstrual health. We have a huge range of Ayurvedic products, which has healthcare, skincare, haircare, but we're mainly known to solve for PCOD and irregular period problem. And we are largely website heavy and small percentage on Amazon. I think I'm sharing this so that it's relevant for our conversation ahead. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Shrey Jain, founder of Alpha Vedic. So we are into Ayurvedic personal care products, majorly into hair and skin categories.
Hi guys, I'm Kammal. I'm the director of operations for VegNonVeg, and we are a streetwear and a sneaker boutique, and we are an omnichannel brand, and we are available on D2C as well as offline.
Hi, I'm Aditya. I'm a co-founder at Assembly. We're a new age luggage and travel goods brand. Started about 5 years back, building thoughtfully designed products for frequent travelers, where we've got a pretty good healthy balance between our web store and different marketplaces. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abhimanyu. I represent Netcore. I'm the Senior Vice President for India. We are one of the oldest, most reputable marketing automation, customer engagement, and retention platforms. A lot of people here today, throughout the day that we've met, a lot of you are already our customers using our services and our platform. Would love to talk to a lot more of you about Netcore capabilities over maybe later today and tomorrow as well.
So thanks for the introduction, everyone. So being, this channel, this session being focused on channel strategy, we will start with you, Stuti. Large amount of your business is on your brand.com. So take us through what went through your mind before you decided on getting into brand.com rather than starting with the probably easier route of marketplace.
So actually, Amrutam was a manufacturer of Ayurvedic medicine before we became a brand. And we were in offline space doing B2B. Our products were kept in medical stores and doctors would prescribe them. And we realized that because our products required a lot of education around it, and it required us to build a community essentially that, Ayurveda is a lifestyle and it's not just that you apply a product or eat and your problem will be fixed, but you need to do this holistically. And that is the reason back in 2017 when D2C word was also not coined, we decided to do this on our website so that one, of course, we could have customer data to understand the patterns on who was interested in what, and then, of course, to build customer loyalty. And we realized that while marketplace model is, of course, is simpler, and especially in 2017, that was the idea. If you're going online, you will sell on Amazon or Flipkart. But for almost 4 to 5 years, we decided to carry on our website. And that actually worked out really well for us when there was a time when we were spending a lot on our marketing and we went in losses. We decided to cut down our marketing cost and we were still able to retain our revenue because we were able to target the customer base that we had already built by then. And if you're on marketplace, then you are selling the product, maybe you're building a business faster, but in a category like us, which requires so much education, people will remember that, okay, I bought this medicine or I bought this supplement from Amazon, but which brand it is, they may not actually be able to recall, which then will miss the whole point of them being consistent with the product itself. So yeah, that's the reason.
Thanks, Tuti. Actually, that brings me to the reverse is what you have done, Shrey. Alpha Vedic is in the BPC space, beauty and personal care.
Yes.
And you decided to go with the marketplaces first. And but at some stage you decided to add your brand.com. So take us through your journey in terms of what made you go with the marketplaces first. And if you were building up scale there, why bother with the brand.com?
So as you rightly said, like it's rather easier to get into marketplace. So when I was getting into marketplaces, like first thing was the capital. You don't need to infuse capital to market there. Like Amazon gives you credit and you can then increase ROI according to whatever sales you are doing. And then for building a market, Amazon like alphavedic.com, like we decided ki like customer retention will happen there. But still after building the .com also, I saw one thing happening, like people are buying still from Amazon because of the speed of the delivery. They want 1 day, 2 day delivery these days and still they buy from amazon.com rather than alphavedic.com. So that was the thing, ki like I have to first build the business, then rather recharging Meta every month. That was the strategy.
So that's interesting. And we were having this conversation like Apple has nothing to do with fruits, orange has nothing to do with fruit and any kind of fruit, and same is the case with Banana Republic, again nothing to do with fruits. You have a veg, non-veg, where there's absolutely nothing to do with either veg food or non-veg food. But the question is twofold. One is maybe you can explain to people why this strange name, but more importantly, which is the more serious question, is unlike the other two that talked about brand.com and marketplaces, you decided to go retail first. Why did you decide to go retail first?
Thanks, Himanshu. This is the question that I get every time. So, veg, non-veg, it has nothing to do with food, but we still get calls from Zomato to list, which is funny. But a short answer to that is that we wanted to build a community which is inclusive to all, a sneaker community wherein there is something for everyone, be it the classic sneakers that you might like or the techno ones, the latest ones. And the name Veg Non-Veg resonated with us to have an inclusive community. And there is another background story to this, is that both the founders of the business call themselves foodie, but their food choices are completely opposite, and hence the name Veg Non-Veg. Coming back to why we chose to go retail first is apparently we are a high-priced, high AOV product, and you know, we wanted people to have that kind of an experience. The brand that we were building is more community-led, culture-led, and that's why we chose to go retail first. And we had our first retail store opened in 2016. It was not really a retail store as well. It was a shop-in-shop part of another brand of ours, which was Bhane. So yeah, so the main reason to go retail first for us is it's a high-priced product, and we wanted people to have touch and feel of it and experience the brand and experience the cultural, the community that we are building around it. And that's the reason why we chose to go retail first. In fact, we are not on any channel as of today. We are only selling either through our retail stores or our D2C website.
Interesting. Thanks for that. And then, of course, in line with the names that we have, we are in the midst of, multiple countries, elections. And then you have the, Senate and the Assembly. So we have a brand called Assembly here. But Aditya, question for you is that you are doing premium luggage. Now, most of the D2C brands which are doing premium luggage, they are doing a lot of retail. You decided to not only avoid that route, but be completely digital as far as your journey till now is concerned, and therefore you're present on marketplaces and brand.com. So what drove your decision? What are the advantages of this? And with specific reference to premium luggage, because it's priced slightly higher than the regular luggage.
No, for us, I think digital became a very organic choice to start up with. The web store for us gives a great way for us to be able to demonstrate the product. People are able to get to know the aesthetics of a product, the functionality of the product. The AOV is good, so it's able to absorb CAC. So I'd say that when we decided that there is a brand to be built, we felt digital was the most cost-efficient way to get scale, to iterate, to test, how it's working with customers, which is very hard to do in retail from the get-go. So we felt that DUC was the first port of call for us, and we built a pretty sizable, healthy, strong business on that. A lot of people are online, a lot of travelers, so we felt that digital just has a very good fit, with our category. But at the same time, marketplaces or Google are places where a lot of people are searching for luggage. So there are a lot of people, I'd say half the people who buy luggage typically remember to buy luggage when they have a trip coming, and then they search either on Amazon or Flipkart or Google. And then if they're searching for premium brands, you want to be present there. So I think marketplaces have given us a way to be able to scale quite well, get very healthy contribution margin. And I think in most cases, what's happening is e-commerce brands are able to get to a certain threshold of revenue through web store and marketplaces. And we want to do retail, we want to scale retail as well, but I think the learning curve there is a little, is a little more. It's more capex intensive. Generally, when you're looking to get scale, you need to have a wide product assortment to be able to launch your EBOs. The MBOs don't allow you to get an entry so easily. So I think generally in most cases, what one has seen in our case as well, that digital is a way for us to establish ourselves, get to a certain healthy run rate, capitalize ourselves well, and then go the offline route. So it's just happening a little sequentially like that.
Very interesting. Coming on to, of course, you, Abhimanyu, you are offering CX, personalization, MarTech, all kinds of digital experiences to help the brands in terms of their, engagement, retention, etc., conversion improvement. But the question is, and this is important because the people from the D2C space who are at different stages of their journey, some are early stage, mid stage, late stage, etc. What stage should they engage with, let's say, the solutions that you have? At what stage does it start making sense for them to start the solutions that you offer?
Yeah, I think great question. And I'll kind of answer it from the customer's point of view. As a company, Netcore has, or we work across the spectrum of size of companies across different industries. Obviously, from a product standpoint, a lot of retention platforms have a focus towards, let's say, specific industries or verticals. Netcore is different in as much as our entire product vision is towards D2C and e-commerce companies. When it comes to what is the scale or what is the stage at which somebody makes a decision whether I need a platform like Netcore or not, it can be multifold, right? One is you look at what is your steady traffic and MAU that you've gotten to. For a lot of our prospects and customers, what happens is they really want to make sure that at least the hygiene communication that is required in terms of looking at their customer base and how those customers are, let's say, relating to their brand, right? Simple things like emails or WhatsApp, requesting feedback, requesting, let's say, any sort of testimonial or something like that. Those are basic hygiene things that come into play, and a lot of smaller brands start with us with just that part of the communication. So that's where, let's say, CPaaS, which is email, RCS, SMS, a lot of that can be driven through our platform. When we look at brands that have achieved some level of growth, some level of steady traffic, and they are scaling, hyper-scaling, they would consider a platform like Netcore for, let's say, omni-channel communication, for search, product discovery, personalization, a lot of those things. So if I were to look at it as when does one make a decision, it's difficult to answer it head on, but there are various things in terms of reduction of complexity, bringing things all onto one platform, hygiene communication. These are some of the factors, top 3 factors I would say, that brands should consider before they decide whether or not I need a platform or not.
Now, before I go to some other interesting questions on the channel per se, from what I understand, maybe I've got it wrong, so correct me. None of you are on any of the quick commerce platforms. Yeah. Now, I didn't check with you, Aditya, if you are there on are you on quick commerce? Wonderful. Yeah. So we have got this amazing one. So you can start, and then anybody else can fill in. What role does quick commerce platform play for you? And to you, specifically if you are on quick commerce, how did you manage to get in?
Yeah, no, I think it's very category dependent. There are categories like FMCG, personal care, where it's driving such significant revenue that it's probably beating, for a lot of these brands, it's beating what they're doing on Amazon, right? I don't think that's the case for us. I think for us, it's a category that's in formative stages with the quick com players as well. For us, the interesting thing was that a lot of people think that they want to buy luggage when they have a trip coming, over the next couple of days. We get a lot of queries that, maybe even drop on our web store because somebody's like, hey, I have my flight tomorrow, can I get it? So that
in that hurry, they say, chalo, 5,000 ka ek luggage khareed lete hain.
I mean, I think, on that...
I'm just joking.
Yeah, on the conceptual chat of luggage is becoming a fashion accessory, right? It's becoming an item. If you travel 15 times a year, it's mattering what you're carrying. So I think that's just a larger shift that's happening, where the aesthetics of the product have become more and more important if you're a frequent traveler. So that, I would still say, is across channels. But, on the point of, our interest in quick commerce happened because there is customer behavior which requires us to be doing faster deliveries. I think in our case, I wouldn't say that quick commerce today is a very significant part of the mix. We're on 2 out of the 3, well-known platforms out there. But it's a learning curve. For us right now, it's a volume product, whereas a lot of the dark stores are not necessarily configured for big products. They want like a very high sales per square feet. So it's not like, it's currently a perfect mix, but we're also learning. They're also we're getting a trickle of data in place. We're able to be present in a few different cities. So, but it is of course a challenge to get in, right? So you have to be in the top. Depends on category to category. Now the one that we're not in, there are already 2-3 brands who are front runners who have gotten through, and we're finding it tough to get through as well. So, but in the 2 out of the 3, we probably went with the right references. We had, we've been on the radar of some of these customers. There are some organic searches happening of the product on these platforms, and therefore, they were keen to explore taking us live on it. But I would still say it's early days for a category like us. It's not like a very significant contributor today, at least.
So it's interesting. Actually, premium luggage would make tremendous sense because quick commerce in the initial stages is actually going to the more affluent sections, highly dense areas, and therefore obviously there is a need. And also the decision makers in all the quick commerce platforms happen to, in most cases, be customers of premium luggage. So it makes sense. But that brings me to the question of the other D2C players here. Are you planning to break into any of the quick commerce platforms? And if yes, how will you break into these platforms?
See, for us, we are not thinking of it as a channel, but it's more of a vanity or a branding metrics for us if we'll do that. Just like iPhone being sold on quick commerce and reaching customers' hands in 15 minutes. So maybe we might do some Jordans on Blinkit in 10 minutes. but nothing beyond that from our perspective.
So interestingly, what he said, like a few time back only, I got a call, like I'm leaving for Canada and your Amazon will show in 2 days, but I need it today. So I have to VFast it instantly or Borzo now we say it. So and I have to deliver it to her. So at that time, by point of time, we feel ki like commerce is the thing. People's decisions are getting delayed day by day. Like nowadays, even if I look at myself also, like I think ki at the very end moment, I will try to get the thing, okay, if can I get it right now also. So this behavior is happening. So quick commerce is the thing, like we have to go for.
And how are you going to break in into one of these platforms?
So I think I have to do great volumes on Amazon first. Then like they will call by themselves. Otherwise, I will be paying them hefty fees if I now go right now.
I think for the nature of product, because it's healthcare, a lot of people do not want to miss out even for a single day. And when they place an order on our website or Amazon, on an average, it takes about 3 days minimum. So maybe once our volumes are like up to that level where there are enough people who would do it, who would want a product in few hours and are not willing to wait for 3 days, maybe at that point. But since we like to have the customer data, and it's very, very important for us to create a holistic like brand emotion, I think like quick commerce is not right on our radar, but it's something that I feel will organically happen as like we grow on our own website and we have enough data and we know that, okay, it's for the customer ease. Like even on Amazon, we are on Amazon because of the customer ease and not necessarily to acquire a customer alone. Yeah.
Interesting. That brings me to the next question, and any of you can take this. All channels are not equal on the unit economics and profitability. Which are the channels that you are struggling with, and why are you there if you're struggling with profitability? What role does it play, and do you have any plan to turn it profitable on those channels, wherever you are having a struggle with whichever channel?
So like as we were talking earlier, so obviously marketplaces, you have to think about the unit economics, and few of the marketplaces doesn't make sense for you, still you are there even after losing your profitability, because like platform like Nykaa I mentioned, like doesn't make sense for any of us, like heavy margins of 40% we have to give, then we have to participate in Pink Friday sales, then we have to bear the GST, then after doing the marketing, we get nothing. But the perception of our 70% of the audience, which is girls, when you are available on Nykaa, अच्छा तुम Nykaa पे हो, तो मैं Nykaa से खरीद लेती हूँ. तो Nykaa से they buy instead of directly buying from us. I say to my friends कि direct मेरे से खरीद लेती, वो 500 रुपये मेरे को कभी नहीं आएगा. But that happens. Like we have to be there for the perception of the customer. कि Nykaa पे है, मतलब selected 1000 brands are there.
Anybody else?
Yeah, no, I'll just add to it. You know, we're definitely CM2 positive on every channel we're on. It's just that you have different expectations from different channels. So I think marketplaces for us.
Tell me, why do you have different expectations from different channels?
Because on the web store, you're acquiring a customer, so you have data and you're able to cross-sell in the future. You're able to learn. You're able to, you know, if 98 out of 100 people are seeing your ad and not buying your ad, and you're CM2 on the channel, that's essentially, that is tremendous reach you can get in terms of being able to project your imagery, your visuals out there, right? So it's very hard to do that in an uncluttered fashion, test and iterate. So on web store, we're CM2 positive, but we're okay with having a relatively lower CM2 positive, and we scale, you know, with margin like that. But on third-party channels, you know, you're there for cash flow. You're there to extract as much profitability as you can, because that's how the business becomes sustainable. So with the marketplaces, with the corporate sales channel, we have high expectations on CM2. With web store, we have relatively lower, but it has to be positive. And we maximize the scale there. Now, when we're looking at retail at some point, you know, if it's an MBO, it has to be CM2 positive, well CM2 positive. But if you're launching an EBO, because it is probably the analogy you can draw is to your own web store, there you can still have slightly lesser expectations, because you have a space where customers are coming, you're learning, you're able to demonstrate your brand in one place, which ends up becoming something which, so many other channels may look at copy pasting or learning from. So I think that's how we think through it.
I think I'll just maybe extend my answer to the first question here. Just from the MarTech side of things, right? While we do not influence or cannot influence the choice of channels that brands are on, one of the important things that we bring to the table, or platforms like us bring to the table, is the availability of data and great analytics, right? So whether you are in retail, you're on marketplaces, you have your brand.com, your own website, how do you achieve a single view of customer, right? A unified view. And that's only to the extent that we are enabling better decision making in terms of whether you continue with a certain channel, do not, or double down on a certain aspect of your business that's working well. So I think on the overall, the availability of data and analytics for you as businesses and decision makers to determine ways forward is something that platforms like us provide. So another thing is, if you do not have that availability of data, do not have actionable analytics, is when a brand could possibly look at, okay, hey, I need an engagement platform or something that is solid enough to get me all this information in one place so that I can make better business decisions.
I want to add something. I mean, as a whole, that it depends on what your product is also, right? For example, I love ID dosa batter. I'm a hardcore customer of that product. I live in Bangalore. Every third day I eat it. But if I had to order that dosa batter from the website, I probably wouldn't have ordered it so much for just, because I want it instantly. If I decide to have dosa right now, I know that, okay, I'll get that batter in few minutes and then my cook will make it. But if I have to wait and then plan this, it wouldn't work. So similarly, I think it depends on the nature of your product, which platform will then be profitable for you. I don't think there's one fit all. In general, even here, we have such variety of products and different brand positioning that there is no thumb rule to this, I feel. I just wanted to add that, yeah.
Interesting. That brings me to the next part, which is there are various channels that you're selling through. And again, any of you and many of you can take this. There's this whole concept of assortment and pricing. So maybe assuming that pricing is largely uniform across channels, maybe it is not, you can correct me. But assortment, how do you do the assortment planning? And is it fairly uniform across channels, or do you do some sort of assortment planning which is different for different channels?
Again, I think it depends upon the kind of brand you are building and the kind of product you have. Some of the brands, so not VegNonVeg, but I advise other footwear brands as well. So what happens is that for them, these third-party channels like Amazon and Myntra become a liquidation platform. So then the pricing strategy is completely different. For their own website, they put up fresh products, which is at full value, and on these third-party websites, they put up products that they want to push out of liquidation. As Aditya also mentioned, that it becomes like a cash flow channel for them. So that is one strategy that most of the brands in fashion space try to utilize. And maybe, for some other brands, maybe the pricing cannot be a strategy wherein you cannot have different pricing, because you are pushing out to your consumers, especially for Shrey and for Sthiti, their brand, they cannot have different pricing. However, the assortment have to be what works where, So some of the products, and I've known a lot of people who are, their one SKU is selling far better on Amazon than their own website, whereas their own website becomes a channel for all other ancillary products. So I think that's, again, depends upon the kind of product. Are you into FMCG or are you into fashion and stuff like that?
Yeah, very similar thoughts. Pricing for us has to be parity across every channel. Otherwise, you're cannibalizing, or you're not giving that sales team or that channel owner the best shot at acquiring the customer, because they could have heard about you from anywhere. But if a customer has walked into a retail store or walked into the web store, you want them to fulfill it there rather than dropping. So definitely there's parity there. On assortment, it varies. There are certain channels where our soft goods are working better than the hard goods. On our web store, we're very focused on selling high AOV because it's expensive to sell on your web stores. So you're pushing your hero products and marketing your hero products the most. Let's say a marketplace like Flipkart is a little more value conscious than others. So you definitely, the assortment can vary, but the pricing is consistent.
And in our case, of course, the pricing remains the same, but there are two things. One is that we encourage people to download our app, and for first-time customers, we give a certain discount, which we wouldn't even on our website or a market like on Amazon. And the other thing is that on our website, he said that if on our website a 400-gram jar is sold more, on Amazon, it's mostly 200-gram jar. So in terms of the pricing, basically the customer themselves chooses a product which is maybe like a smaller package but smaller price because of probably the pocket size. But on website, we usually see a higher AOV. So I think that way we see a big difference.
Anybody else on this subject on assortment and pricing?
Rightly said, we have to give the different offers, we have to keep the price same across all but the offers varies on website. Is always on website you have 5% to 10% cheaper. That's it.
That leaves us with a few minutes for you to ask any question. You can ask to the panel in general or identify one of the founders or the brands and ask your question. So who would be the first volunteer to... Okay, we have one volunteer there at the back.
Yeah, hi, Prateek here. Thanks for the session. I think I'll ask my question to Aditya because the brand is present across most channels. So lately we've been hearing a lot of good things about quick commerce because the orders are coming in and everybody's happy about it. But if you see in terms of quality control perspective versus other marketplaces or your own web store, most of these quick commerce do not even have detailed reviews, and a lot of time customers don't look at reviews. There isn't enough manpower to actually do quality control. A lot of times products are delivered damaged to you, and now there are tons of YouTube videos showing probably why, for example, you shouldn't buy electronics or other things from quick commerce platforms. So don't you think going forward, while everybody is enjoying that it is raining today, but in the future, the quick commerce platforms will also come across similar pitfalls to other major marketplaces, and new marketplaces would also come up. And eventually, this channel optimization will become such a large problem for brands that despite investing a lot of manpower and technology, it will always be a puzzle.
That's for me? No, so, clearly these quick commerce channels have to evolve. It's very early in their journey. We have data issues today. We're, discussing margins, holding costs, storage costs, and which is why we're also, taking a measured approach. But I think there are definitely people buying. As long as people continue buying on quick commerce, I think as a seller, as a merchant, as a brand, you have to align to that. Is it a significant part of our revenue today? No. Do we feel we need to seed ourselves there, be present, get an understanding of what the channel mix is? You're right, reviews, there are no returns. So it's not something which is, at least for us today, built to scale. But if it continues growing, if people continue buying, and this was true for a lot of the Indian horizontal marketplaces as well, 5, 7, 8 years back, they've got their systems in place over a period of time. They've got I think logistics for a quick commerce company is tougher than logistics for a horizontal marketplace because you have such time sensitivity there. So I think if people continue buying, then companies like us will need to nurture that relationship and give it as much importance depending on the type of scale it gets. But today, for us at least, it's a bit early.
But it requires a lot of testing, as we spoke about, right?
No, definitely, and it's an expensive channel because terms are stacked against you because getting onto the channel is something which everybody wants, and therefore today a lot of these platforms are able to charge very high fees. But I think over time, the more democratization that happens on the merchant side, the more brands there are, it'll keep getting better. But today, for sure, it's not a channel today that for a company like us, we can think of it as a scalable channel. It's a testing channel. We're approaching it the way we approach retail today, because even multi-brand outlet retail is not easy for an e-commerce brand to get a crack into. So we take it in a measured way.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Next question. Anybody has any other question that you want to ask any of the founders? Wonderful. Thank you all. And thank you to the audience for the session. So thanks, everyone.